at you with my May TBR, or MBR, because I'm a mood reader. But last month I made a TBR and I actually stuck to it, and I read most everything that was on there. I found that I enjoyed the things that I had on the list and the ease of just going and picking off the next one in the pile without having to scour my huge TBR shelves to figure out what I wanted to read. So it made my life a little bit easier, and I feel like it kept me focused and kept me reading because I was really definitely interested in getting to all the books that were on the pile. So I thought I would try it again. I do like to pick up what I feel like reading, but most of the ones on this list are new, like where they were just in my haul that I just filmed for April. So they're new books, and some of them have a specific purpose. And so here are 7 books that I hope to get to in May. The first one is Trust by Hernan Diaz. This is a Pulitzer Prize winner, and it is one that I am going to read with the purpose of comparing it to another Pulitzer Prize winner that I'm actually reading right now, and that is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. These both won the Pulitzer Prize, but they're both on opposite ends. They're almost in a juxtaposition to each other in that this one deals with a family or elite wealthy families in New York City, and I believe it's generational, and it says it spans a century, and it puts forth 4 competing narratives into conversation with one another, an immersive story, and a brilliant literary puzzle. So it sounds really good, whereas Demon Copperhead is more a story about a specific individual and his struggle with living in poverty and being born to a drug-addicted mother. And so it is very opposite ends of what this is. But I'm going to read them both and then compare and see, what made these Pulitzer Prize winners and if I feel they stand up. So Trust by Hernan Diaz. The next book is also a literary book, and that is Kairos by Jenny Erpenbeck. This is a story about a complex relationship in which a married man and a woman have a long-standing affair. And from what I understand, it also is set during the background of the declining GDR. So it is a sweeping story of the path of 2 lovers as one matures and tries to come to terms with her destructive romance, even as the whole world with its own ideology disappears. I think this sounds really good. I love reading about complex relationships and character-driven stories, and so I feel like this one checks a lot of those boxes for me. The next one is probably one that I'm the most excited for, and that is The God of Endings by Jacqueline Holland. I believe this is a newer release, and it was highly recommended, and it is a modern-day vampire story. I believe that it is very character-driven, and it is all about Colette, who is a lonely artist who heads up a fine art school in upstate New York. And it is all about her centuries enduring turmoil and heartache in the wake of her grandfather's long ago decision to make her immortal like himself. I love when this fantastical element of vampires coincides with a very character-driven story and in a very literary way. So you're dealing with a lot of existential questions and the human experience from the perspective of an immortal being. I feel like if done correctly, that can be a very powerful story. And so I have high hopes for this one, that I'm going to love it and it be a new favorite, a 5-star read. Here's hoping. The next book I have is by one of my favorite authors, and that is The Dregs of Empire by Christopher Ruocchio. This is a short story that focuses around Lorien, who is the Intis in Hadrian Marlowe's Red Company. And I want to read this one before I start Disquiet Gods, because I've heard that it adds to the story and that it's a good idea to read it before continuing on. Hopefully I will get to this one because I would really love to read Disquiet Gods next month. The next one I have is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. So I have loved Leigh Bardugo's writing. She wrote the Shadow and Bone trilogy, the Grisha duology, and those were geared towards a younger audience. They are new adult or young adult. Whereas this is Leigh Bardugo's foray into adult fiction. And I feel like if she can captivate me and persuade me to read young adult, then she's going to nail it in the adult fiction category. From what I understand, this is a historical fiction in that it's set back in time, but it deals with witches and magic and science and alchemy, seers. So I'm really interested to dipping my toes into this. The next book I have is a horror thriller, and that is Looking Glass Sound by Catriona Ward. I don't really know much about this one. Let's see. So there is a writer, and it is the story of his companions and the shadowy figure of the daggermen who stalked New England town where they spent their summers. So I guess there's a murderer. Anyway, it sounds really good, and I love this edition. So I will hope to get to this one as well. The next one is a maybe, but I read the first book in this series earlier this year, and I very much enjoyed it and have been meaning to pick it back up, the series back up. And that is Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey. This is book 2 in the Expanse series. I loved the banter between the main characters in the first book. I thought it was hilarious and was probably the best thing about that book for me until I got to the end. I loved the end, and I was so intrigued that it definitely compelled me to pick up the rest of the series and want to continue on. And so I certainly hope to get to this one, but it is a chunky book. It is like 600 pages. But I do feel like I read the first one pretty quickly. Like, it's not so dense that it takes me a tremendous amount of time to get through the chunkiness. So here's hoping I get to this next in the series. So that's it. Those are the 7 books that I hope to read. Have you read any of these? What did you think? And what is on your May TBR? I would really love to know what drives you to pick up certain books. Are you a mood reader, or do you make lists and stick to it? Let's talk about it. Leave me a comment. That's gonna do it. I am really glad you stuck around. If you finished the video, leave me an umbrella emoji in the comments. And thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.
I've done it again. I don't know why. I must just be completely dumb. I've already filmed this video, but I didn't record the audio. The mic wasn't turned on.